Welcome back to Theme Park Wizard, and today I'm here to talk about WandaVision. WandaVision premiered this morning, and yes, this will be a spoiler-heavy review, so if you do not want to hear any spoilers, then turn your notifications on, subscribe to the channel, like this video, and then go back on Sunday or so to your liked videos, or whenever you watch it, then go back to your liked videos and click on this video. Yes, WandaVision Episode 4 came out yesterday, or this morning, and episode 1 and 2 were awesome. I absolutely loved episode 1 and 2, the cool sitcom aspect. Wanda's creating her own vision, WandaVision, and I just love the play on words there. It was super cool to see the mom from that 70s show in there, and all these cool Easter eggs. But also you can tell that something was weird going on with the helicopter that was in color. And then in the second episode, the magic show, the beekeeper. In the third episode, you got Dottie, who's strangely odd and also wasn't on that poster board that we're going to talk about. But Dottie was bleeding real blood, and that's when Jimmy Woo was saying, "Wanda, who's doing this to you?" on the radio. And you see, Wanda is definitely controlling most of this area, or most of this reality, this mirage, because when the beekeeper comes up the sewer, she goes, "No," and then it rewinds. And then when anything weird happens, it's kind of like awkward a little bit, and then they just kind of go back to their dialogue. Whereas in episode 4, as you see, and by the way, episode 3 is when when Wanda's pregnant, and yeah, Tommy and Billy, and when all that magic stuff is happening in the room, when Wanda's in labor, that's Billy. From the womb, he is one of the most powerful young Avengers, and he's so powerful he's controlling the magic from her womb, which is pretty insane. Also, that's when Monica Rambeau breaks her cover. Geraldine breaks her cover and says, Wanda, let me help you. And mentions Ultron. Whew, there goes another blip moment, because as Ultron was mentioned, Wanda blasts Monica through several walls, out of the force field of this town, calling her a trespasser. That was revealed in this episode 4, which is pretty super cool. I mean, I was like, wow. It's cool to see Wanda using her full powers there, starting to amp up to use those full powers to protect herself. Speaking of episode 4, the beginning, the first scene was kind of like more traditional. So the first 2 episodes, the sitcom type episodes, the Marvel logo came up first, and then they did the this typical TV sitcom opening. But this one was more like a typical Marvel movie type of thing, where they had that pre-intro scene, and then they had an intro scene, and then they had the iconic Marvel Studios logo and theme song pop up, and then continue. So it felt like more like a Marvel movie in this episode, which is why it's very disappointing it was only 25 minutes. I mean, it was like 37, it's like 32 or something, but there's the previously on WandaVision stuff, and then there's about 6 to 7 minutes of credits each episode, just like The Mandalorian. And I was wondering, I thought that was just a Mandalorian thing, but I guess that's because streaming, since streaming covers a lot of countries, they have to do a whole bunch of credits in also different languages, which does make sense. So that's what leads to long credit sequences. But that's why it's still very upsetting. It's 25 minutes. Hopefully, next episode, it's even just a little bit longer, even if it's like 35 minutes. Like, if the total running time is like 42 minutes or something, but there's 35 minutes of actual footage, I'll even take that. The one complaint about WandaVision and The Mandalorian is funny, not about the shows themselves, but the actual content and story, but just the fact that they're so short. I want more, like, especially this episode, like I said, it just felt more like a Marvel movie format. It felt like it went by in 10 minutes. It felt like I was watching, and then boom, credits. I'm like, what? And my brother who was watching it, not with me, but he's at his house. He messaged me. I messaged him to see what he thought of it. And he's like, man, I wish it was longer. It was 25 minutes, but it felt like it went by in 8 minutes. I'm like, I know, right? It seemed like it was like that. So hopefully, Kevin Feige, come on, next Friday, at least 45 minutes, 35 minutes, or 40, yeah, at least 45 minutes, or at least 35 minutes of real footage. That'd be new footage. That'd be awesome. But speaking of episodes for itself, when we start off when Monica Rambeau just got blipped back into existence. They defeated Thanos and everyone's back from dust. And she's in the hospital. Apparently Monica's mom, Monica was in the hospital, like, for, like, herself. She was visiting her mom, which her mom had cancer, of course, as we know from Captain Marvel. And so she was there, but she got blipped away. Her mom didn't get blipped away, so unfortunately her mom died in those 3 years. So she came back. It's been 3 years, and she gets blipped. And Monica, the nurse tells her that her mom died 3 years ago, and she's very confused because she thought, obviously, when you're in the blip, it feels like, a few minutes or so. She also got knocked out of a promotion at S.W.O.R.D. She was the director at S.W.O.R.D. and she said to be promoted, just blipped away. So her friend, I forgot the guy's name, but took over. But they both agreed they should be doing so. So basically, Monica goes to, decides to go investigate a missing persons case, which she ends up in Westview, and she meets Jimmy Woo there, and it turns out it's a missing town case, not just a missing person case. And there's a couple of cops, couple of sheriffs right there, and right next to the Westview sign, and they claim they haven't seen Westview, so I guess only certain people can see Westview, and those sheriffs were from Eastview, which is funny. But yeah, so I guess only certain people, like S.W.O.R.D. agents and special people, can see Westview, which is very, very interesting. I guess definitely that makes sense. Wanda made it like that for herself, so she can be obstructed from view. So then my girl Darcy comes back. I love Kat Dennings. She is amazing. She comes back with her group of peoples, and they're setting up a broadcast signal, or they detect a broadcast signal. So they get a whole bunch of old TVs from different decades because they realize that broadcast signals like from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And they're actually they're watching these sitcoms like we were. They're sitting there watching them. And it's very interesting because, like I said, when Jimmy goes, Wanda, who's doing this to you? We saw that, and Wanda just kind of paused, but on Darcy's screen, it just skips the entire scene and goes to the next normal scene. Same thing with the pregnancy thing, when she kicked Monica Rambeau out, and after she said Ultron, it just switched the credits, and WandaVision sitting with their little babies. Very interesting. So Wanda's definitely manipulating that. That was a broadcast signal, it seems like, which is very interesting. They also were doing like a storyboard or a cast board of who's in the town. And 2 people weren't on that board. 2 people, which is very interesting. This brings up some potential fan theories and rumors. Dottie wasn't on the board, and the doctor of the town was on the board. Fan theories. And Agnes was on the board, but she didn't have a driver's license. Agnes is Catherine Hahn, and Catherine Hahn, ever since the show was, before it even premiered, it was rumored she was playing Agatha the Witch, the villain of the town and wife of Mephisto, the devil. And she keeps talking about her husband Ralph, not in this episode because we didn't see her this episode. But it's rumored that her husband Ralph is Mephisto, the devil. And she's the only person on that list that didn't have a driver's license, which is kind of suspicious and seems to be definitely be pointed out. But the two people that weren't on the list at all, Dottie and the doctor, it's rumored that Dottie, since she kind of looks like her, is playing Clea, which they've been confirmed for Doctor Strange 2 Clea, and then the Doctor is Doctor Strange in disguise. And Doctor Strange is rumored, at least in the very last episode, at least, to make an appearance here in WandaVision. And that's going to lead right into Doctor Strange's Multiverse of Madness and Spider-Man 3 in that big multiverse story. So, very interesting. I love the show. It's great. This episode, in my opinion, episode 4 is the best by far. Again, I just hope they get a little bit longer, or a lot of it longer, but a little bit longer. I'll take a little bit longer as well. We'll see in 7 days from now, next week, if they get longer. But if you like this video, press that thumbs up button. Tell me what you think of WandaVision below in the comments. Again, this is a spoiler review, so you can put spoilers down below in your thoughts and fan theories. And yeah, if it's too late now, it's already 11 minutes in, but if you don't want to see the spoilers, come check this video after you've seen the show. And subscribe for more theme park updates and WandaVision reviews every single week. Have a great day. Fantastic day, actually.